Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and discovering something terrible. Not your phone, not your internet, not even coffee, something far more personal. Toilet paper no longer exists, no rolls, no tissues, no emergency napkins hidden somewhere under the sink. Nothing. And suddenly a question appears that nobody really wants to think about. What did people do before toilet paper existed? Because humans have always had one problem in common. Sooner or later, everybody has to go. Ancient kings had this problem, Roman soldiers had this problem, Egyptian farmers had this problem, even prehistoric humans squatting around campfires had this problem. And for almost all of human history, there was no soft white roll waiting beside the toilet. So what exactly were people using? And perhaps more importantly, how did humanity survive thousands of years without Charmin commercials? The answer is much stranger than you might think. Toilet paper is incredibly new. Humans are not. Different cultures solved the same awkward problem in wildly different ways. Let's start before civilization itself. Imagine a world without bathrooms. No plumbing, no sinks, no toilet seats, just people, nature, and common sense. Prehistoric humans didn't have a special room for bathroom activities. They simply moved away from camp. Distance mattered because waste near food and sleeping areas attracted insects and disease. You didn't need germ theory to understand that. You only needed one terrible week. After finishing, people used whatever the environment provided: leaves, grass, moss, soft bark, smooth stones, and even handfuls of snow in colder climates. Not glamorous, but effective enough. Nature was basically the world's first bathroom supply store. Availability mattered more than comfort. If you lived near a forest, you used what forests gave you. If you lived near rivers, you used what rivers offered. Human history is many things, but above all, it is adaptation. Then civilizations appeared and bathroom technology became surprisingly creative. Ancient Egyptians had papyrus. Not the writing scrolls themselves, thankfully, but softer plant fibers derived from papyrus plants. Some evidence suggests they used strips of plant material for cleaning. Compared to grabbing random leaves, that probably felt luxurious. Meanwhile, ancient Greeks had a different idea, and honestly, their solution sounds horrifying. They used small rounded stones or pieces of broken pottery called pessoi. Yes, broken pottery. Imagine dropping your favorite coffee mug and someone saying, "Excellent, bathroom supplies." Ancient life was truly committed to recycling. Roman civilization brought something even stranger: public toilets, rows and rows of stone seats. No privacy walls, no doors, just people sitting side by side, discussing life while handling business. Modern humans struggle to make eye contact in elevators. Romans apparently held conversations. But the truly strange part came afterward. Romans often used something called a tersorium, a sponge attached to a stick, shared by multiple people and stored in water or vinegar between uses. If that sentence made you uncomfortable, congratulations. You are experiencing empathy across 2,000 years. Because yes, the sponge was communal. Humanity invented empire, aqueducts, and concrete, yet somehow thought one sponge should be enough for everyone. History is mysterious. Meanwhile, in ancient China, something remarkable happened. Actual paper appeared. Paper was invented in China long before Europe embraced it, and records suggest that by the 6th century, paper was already being used for personal hygiene. By the 14th century, millions of sheets were being produced for the imperial court. Emperors had dedicated toilet paper centuries before much of the world even knew paper existed. Apparently, royalty had standards. But most ordinary people still used local materials. Water remains one of humanity's oldest cleaning methods. Even today, billions of people around the world rely primarily on water rather than paper. Which leads to an interesting realization. Toilet paper isn't universal. It is cultural. To many people throughout history, water was cleaner, more practical, and completely normal, while paper would have seemed wasteful because paper itself was expensive. Imagine using money every time you visited the bathroom. Most people preferred alternatives. And speaking of expensive, let's talk about royalty. King Henry VIII had servants called grooms of the stool. What do you do for a living? I help the king poop. Human history contains jobs nobody warns you about in school. Then came newspapers, which changed everything. Once printing became common, old pages suddenly gained a second purpose. Farmhouses across America often used newspapers hanging from nails. Mail order catalogs became famous bathroom companions. Eventually, one company noticed something obvious. People wanted something softer, cleaner, and made specifically for this purpose. In 1857, Joseph Gayeti introduced one of the first commercial toilet papers in America. He proudly advertised medicated sheets, and his name appeared on every page. Even then, many families resisted because buying toilet paper sounded ridiculous. Habits changed slowly, but eventually toilet paper became normal. Modern life transformed expectations. Now, softness became important, then thickness, then fragrance, then multiple layers. Human beings evolved from using moss and leaves to arguing over 2-ply versus 3-ply. Progress is strange, but perhaps the weirdest chapter arrived recently. In 2020, millions of people panicked, not because food disappeared, not because electricity vanished, because toilet paper shelves became empty. Entire civilizations reduced to arguing over bathroom supplies. People hoarded rolls like treasure. Humans survived perfectly well without it for thousands of years because adaptation is what humans do best. Your ancestors crossed deserts, survived ice ages, built cities, invented writing, explored oceans, and somehow handled bathroom emergencies without panic buying 1,200 rolls. Which brings us back to the original question. What did people do before toilet paper existed? The answer is almost everything. Leaves, grass, snow, moss, stones, pottery, wool, hay, water, cloth, sponges, paper. Whatever the environment allowed, whatever culture preferred, whatever worked. Because toilet paper is not ancient. Humans are. And like nearly every problem in history, people found solutions. Some clever, some uncomfortable, some horrifying, and some involving a communal sponge that humanity collectively tries not to think about. But here's the strangest part. 2,000 years from now, future humans might look at us the same way. They might laugh at giant rolls of paper. They might wonder why people cut down trees just to throw them away moments later. They might have technologies we cannot imagine. And they might ask, wait, people used paper? Because normal is temporary. History is weird. And no matter how advanced civilization becomes, everyone still faces the same ancient problem. Sooner or later, everybody needs a bathroom.